at least we don't believe there should be a further issue around security at least. So there would be.
So just continuing the spectrum, because I think it's a very important issue. I understand the United States has proposed a National Spectrum Act, and I think the country also wants to have a similar act. Would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, first of all, here's a country that is, tons of spectrum given away vis-a-vis India, right? And still feels that the need for the additional spectrum through an act. Now, let me say that was engineered through a clear understanding that national sovereignty was going to be impacted as a result of spectrum paucity. And I think that connection needs to happen in India, that the future is cyber warfare, cyber intelligence, understanding of knowledge workers, folks who know how to handle IT, and in an environment where cyber area is going to be the next frontier for warfare, a prepared civilization. And we talked about the fact that in the States, we had the celebrated court case where every citizen was given the right to bear arms as a deterrent to any foreign invasion of the country, right? I think the right to bear arms in the next century is the ability of every one of our citizens to be educated, to have broadband, to understand what this technology is, be savvy with it, know it. That's our best defense. That can never happen with this type of, paucity of spectrum that we have. It's just not going to get us there. So whether act or no act, I think the government has to move forward in terms of freeing up the spectrum to give our people this, the right, if you will, because that's already been propounded, the right to broadband. And that can only happen with making spectrum available.
Yeah, so one of the things which we have sort of addressed in that report is to look at the spectrum bands which are available with the defense, with the maritime industry, with the satellite, with the, looking at the whole spectrum in totality. And I think if the holistic view is taken of the spectrum, I think there is enough spectrum available. But holistic view needs to be taken, and some rules of the game, maybe through a National Spectrum Act or whatever needs to be laid down. Let me now move away from spectrum to another very interesting dimension of the policy, which is made in India. The focus of sourcing the equipment and making the equipment in India. And, there are reports which indicate that even if the electronics industry continues to grow at this rate, in 2020, still we'll have a deficit of about $300 billion, the value of goods and services which will need to be imported from outside, assuming the electronic industry grows. And the significant portion of this deficit will be in the telecom. So perhaps the government has at least realized this and brought this dimension. We will have a very detailed discussion later on, but your quick take on this made in India.
Hemant, I think it's asking, when have you stopped beating your wife type of a question. Either answer gets you into trouble, But I think the point made in India is something that we've all signed up to. I don't think that that's the issue. The issue is not, should it be made in India? We all acknowledge that it must be made in India. The question is, who makes it? And I think sometimes artificial distinctions, the color of money is the color of money. We've expanded the investment criteria to say that, 74% of the FDI or the investment in a telecom company can come from abroad. Having invited that type of massive investment and recognizing that the continuous success of the sector depends on that, and you see it in the airline industry as well. You just added in, the airline industry runs into a problem. Why? It's because it's capital intensive, just like us. So, do we need to create another Boeing and an Airbus? Of course we would like to. Right? Where does it start? Well, obviously you start by saying, okay, when we give you an order, start making the components here. Make the engine here or get the wing components. So let's have a reasonable, rational process which says, look, that's how we get from here to there. Today, I think what has happened is that we've put this agenda out there and some very, very aggressive milestones without a clear understanding as how you're going to get there. And Our fear is that, one, it's penal in nature, in that if I don't measure up as an operator, all of a sudden you're going to put a penalty on me. Look, we're already bleeding, and to now have additional penalties for no fault of our own. Secondly, all right, to then basically say the folks that you've are invited in under a certain sort of assurance of a fair return on their investment, all of a sudden are going to be disenfranchised. We say, well, that may not be completely fair, because what happens is that stops the future investment criteria. So the folks have already invested, the Ericssons of the world, stand to lose, and that's not good for the Indian economy. So I think Made in India is good. We support it, need to have it, but let's have the appropriate mechanisms in place that take it forward so that people are not hurt in the process of this, that India truly benefits as a result of the Made in India policy.
So in your opinion, the criteria, 60% or whatever they have laid down, it's not doable in the near term?
We believe that they are it hasn't been done anywhere else, Hemant. If we find the magic potion that does it, I would recommend